Am I wrong for treating my daughter-in-law like a child when she was acting like one? My son and his wife have been staying with us for about a month now while they prepare to move into a new place in May. My wife and I enjoy having them with us, and for the most part, my daughter-in-law is lovely, but she is very messy. I'm retired from the army, and I have always run my house to a certain set of standards, and I expect them to be followed even by guests. Oh my god, I can see where this is going. My son has often described his wife as someone who prefers clutter, and she generally likes to have things where she can see them. But after I voiced my displeasure over the clutter in the guest bedroom they are presiding in, as well as in the guest bath they use every day, she did begin to decrease the amount of clutter, but not to the standards I would like in my home. I'm sorry, why are you checking out their bedroom? Like, your house or not, like when you have a guest, you check out their room, like the amount of clutter. I'm like, listen, as long as you clean it up when you leave, I'm good. My daughter-in-law still leaves her makeup out in the bathroom until she gets home in the afternoon because she runs out of time in the morning to put them back. To her credit, she does clean everything once she gets home, but I don't appreciate having to stare at the mess for hours until she does get home. I tried handling it privately with my son in hopes he could talk to her, and while he did agree, he mostly made excuses about her behavior, equating it to an unstable home life, growing up with incompetent parents, and in the foster system towards her later teen years. I admit she is still quite young at 20, but my kids knew how to clean up after themselves before they were out of elementary school. That's because they were your kids and you taught them. You're in the foster system, you don't have parents to teach you. My frustrations over the situation grew to head one day when she yet again left her makeup out in the bathroom, and in response, I took a trash bag and placed all of the makeup and everything underneath the sink that was hers as well. And then in the guest bedroom, every piece of clothing she owned. Ooh, why would you do that? I had no intention of actually throwing her belongings in the trash, but I wanted to show how serious I was on the matter, and I thought maybe handling it how I would have handled a teenager would have given her a bit of a wake-up call since she had seemed to miss out on it in her childhood. My daughter-in-law came home before my son, and when she discovered her things in the trash bags outside of the front door, I could tell she was rather shell-shocked. I didn't yell, but I was stern when I explained to her that her behavior had been very disrespectful, and if it continued, she would have to leave my house. My daughter-in-law didn't say much and just looked at me with wide eyes the whole time. And then when I was done, she apologized and took all of her things back inside the room she was staying in. I could hear her crying, which seemed to me to be dramatic, and when my son got home, he apologized for my daughter-in-law's messiness, but said that the way I handled the situation was too far. I told him it was my house, my rules. Oh my god, this man's gonna have such a rude awakening, like, oh my god, these are adults, man, like, what are you doing? Now my daughter-in-law has been keeping all of her things in her car and won't even place them in the house at all. She also has become very reserved when I am around, but is completely fine around my daughters and wife. The mess stopped, but now there is an awkwardness in the house. Oh, I wonder why there's an awkwardness in the house. Like, real question, why are you spending hours, like, you said you're staring at it all day? Are you sitting in the bathroom? In the guest bathroom? Are you sitting in her room? Like, why? I don't understand. When you grow up, in a multi-generational home, right? When you choose to live with someone like that, people make sacrifices, right? If she makes a mess, let it go. Why? So your son can be comfortable in your house. Like, I found a spy camera in my room after my stepdad put a surveillance camera in my window. My stepdad, 36 male, installed a surveillance camera positioned outside of my window to scan our backyard while him and my mother and two younger brothers go camping. I couldn't go on the trip since I had work, so I was staying home to house sit and feed our animals. My stepdad recently put up new cameras outside, so I didn't see anything wrong with him positioning one outside of my window. Come to find out, the very next day, I had my boyfriend stay over and he found out that the surveillance camera that was ran from outside my window and into my room was being powered by one of those spy camera power blocks. For context, my relationship with my stepdad hasn't always been the best, and we tend to butt heads a lot. He said a lot of questionable things in the past that I've written off because he's my dad and I would never think he intended to be inappropriate or harmful. He's been in my life since I was 8 years old. Of course, I'm second guessing everything now that I found this camera. It was positioned to point directly at my bedroom door from the far wall, so it has direct view of my entire room, which I change in. I tried desperately to rationalize it and think it was by mistake. Like he grabbed the wrong charger box, or maybe he was just trying to look for intruders. But really, there is no excuse for putting a camera in my bedroom. The camera even had an SD card in it. I'm beyond devastated. My stepdad even suggested I invite my boyfriend over too while they're gone, so I have someone here, which is something he would never do considering he's made it clear before that he doesn't want him over when no one is home. My boyfriend and I are going to go through the SD card to see if there's anything on it. I am at a complete loss at how to even bring this up to my mom. I confided in my aunt and uncle since they live close by, and they have been very supportive of me having a conversation with my mom about it. This whole situation is extremely upsetting. I at least have some family to support me as I navigate this, but I don't even know how to bring this up to my mom. This is obviously going to change everything. She had my 5-year-old half-brother with him. My mind is racing with the consequences this is going to have on our family. Has anyone that has been in a similar situation have advice? How can I do this without causing extreme damage to the family? Although that might be impossible. Okay, she does have an update. I went to the police station tonight and filed a police report and turned in the spy camera with the SD card. The officer said this is a serious offense and I will likely get a call early next week from an investigator due to the severity of the situation. I'm planning on telling my mother about the police report after we have a conversation about this on Monday with my aunt and uncle present. After talking with my aunt, uncle, boyfriend, and my cousin who is a civil lawyer, I've decided that I will speak to my mom in a separate location from my stepdad. Most likely I'll have her meet me somewhere outside of our home. The camera, past uncomfortable experiences I've had with my stepdad that I originally brushed off because he was my dad, video footage of him deliberately setting it up and angling it, and footage of me in my room. I'm praying she understands why I had to go to my aunt instead of her, considering she was not in town and I was worried for her safety if I told her what happened. I'm hoping with my aunt there and her being away from my stepdad that it'll prevent her from reacting out of anger and search for him and escalate the situation then and there. And I hope that my aunt can provide some support for myself and her. I'm prepared for her to go through the same process I went through, such as reasoning and denial. But with the evidence, there's no way possible she can deny it. I'm preparing myself for the worst. I just hope that I can be strong for her and support her as this all hits her like it did me. I will not be returning home or facing him today. My boyfriend will be on standby to pick up my brother if needed, since my aunt has offered for them to stay with us so my mom can talk to my stepdad without them there. I'll ask my mom to meet me and of course not tell my stepdad about the circumstances. Maybe she can tell him she's going to the grocery store. I don't want him getting any hints that she could be meeting with me.
My 60 male, son-in-law, 28 male, has the opportunity to become a NASA astronaut, but my daughter, 27 female, is holding him back. In 2012, my family and my now son-in-law, 17 male, now 28 male, were sitting outside of Dulles International Airport to see the Discovery space shuttle fly in. It flew right over us and was one of the coolest experiences I had ever seen. And for everyone else, it was just that. But for my son-in-law, it was clearly something far more than just a cool experience. Fast forward almost 12 years later, and my son-in-law is now a test pilot in the Air Force. He has flown various aircrafts, including the F-16, F-22, and other aircrafts that I don't even know about. He's very young for his position, but he has been very dedicated towards his end goal of being a NASA astronaut. Despite lacking some of the various requirements, his superiors have recommended him to NASA with a lot of positive feedback. He's so close to achieving his dream, with the only problem being my daughter. She is terrified he'll somehow die in either a training accident, flight, or some other obscure way. She has apparently thrown many tantrums over it, throwing things, hitting him, and threatening to leave him and take my grandson away. She is refusing therapy, and my son-in-law has said he is considering to cease further attempts to make it into the astronaut program if it means he stays married. I can't stress how rare of an opportunity this is, not just for him, but anyone. And as for someone who's witnessed his passion manifest, I want him to go for it, and I don't want my daughter to stop him, but I also don't want their marriage to fall apart because of it and have my grandson shared between them. My daughter has acted this way before when he has taken his career in a different way as expected, but I don't want to advise my son-in-law to continue with his career on a possible bluff just for it to turn out to be real this time. He wants advice, and now I need it.
I mean, he's a test pilot already. What safety is going to be different here? I actually am pretty sure like astronauts aren't going to space every day, but test pilots are probably flying far more often.
Yeah.
It's also one of those kind of things where you know how you're so much safer in an airplane than you are in your car driving to work or home every day.
I know.
But you don't realize that. Or you're like you're more likely to get hit by a fallen coconut than attacked by a shark. Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God. No, I
but
totally,
you get the idea.
There's weird shit out there. Yeah.
She must be thinking of like movies and all the like things we've talked about in movies, but I'm pretty sure astronauts actually are overall, it's not too dangerous. But there's also a chance I think you could be an astronaut and not even go to space.
Yes.
You're worried. There's so many parts to the job.
There's so many. So my fiance is like oh my God, he's so obsessed with space. He's gonna like actually.
I thought you were about to be like, he's an astronaut.
No,
and,
he wants to be.
He's such an astronaut, and I hate him.
Oh no, he wants to be. But there's like this point where he almost went into the Air Force because he wanted to be the first one to go to Mars. And so knowing what I know and this guy's age, he would be working towards the Mars missions.
That would be so cool.
So cool.
I want to believe. This is a separate conversation.
You want to believe this is
real?
I
want to believe like like I will see people go to Mars.
Yeah.
Like I never want to go. I have no desire.
No.